Let's wind back to the 1970s. Greig was an outsider, both literally and culturally. He captained England from 1975 to 1977. He was tall, confident, born in South Africa, and tended to be brash. He famously said that he'd make the West Indies grovel in 1976. This was a remark that backfired badly. His style of leadership was confrontational, aggressive, and theatrical. But in a way, he was the prototype for the modern captain. Marketable, magnetic, and willing to challenge the norms. His career as captain ended prematurely because he signed up for Kerry Packer's World Series cricket, a breakaway professional competition that clashed with official test matches. This decision meant he was no longer eligible to lead England, effectively ending his reign. Then came the Professor, Mike Brearley. Brearley captained England from 1977 to 1980, and then again in 1981. He was an opening batsman with an average of only 22 with the bat, but who had a genius-level cricketing brain, winning 18 of them and losing only 4. Brearley is often cited as the greatest tactical captain in English history. He is best remembered for managing the egos and emotions of volatile talents like Ian Botham. Whilst under Brearley's leadership, Botham delivered his famous Ashes heroics of 1981, hereby proving that cricket captaincy is as much about mental warfare and man management as it is a physical contest. What he proved during his time as captain is that you don't need to be the best player to be the best captain. All-rounder Ian Botham himself served as England captain from June 1980 to July 1981. It was a rather tough time to be the captain, as England were up against two of the most dominant teams in cricket's history, the West Indies at their peak, and a strong Australian side, leaving little room for error or recovery. In those tests, Botham averaged just 13-14 with the bat, scoring only 150. However, he was England's top wicket-taker, taking 35 wickets at an average of 33.08. The story of Botham's captaincy is really that his own performance became weaker and weaker, with nothing from his team to offset that. I didn't quite understand why you had to butter up someone and tell them they were the best thing since sliced bread to go out and play for your country, he later said about his way of dealing with his players. Botham's first match in charge was actually one of the better ones, despite it ending in defeat. The West Indies made heavy weather of chasing 208 to win, getting their 8 wickets down. 4 rain-affected draws followed. After another draw in a one-off test against Australia, Botham took his team to the Windies and got absolutely belted in the first 2 tests. The third one was a creditable draw, but the fourth involved Jeff Boycott batting for a draw in the second innings, so that was basically even worse than a defeat. Then it was the Ashes. England lost the first test and the second was a draw. It was to be his final one as captain. Beefy, as he was often called, made a 3-ball duck in the first innings and a golden duck in the second. No one clapped for him when he walked off. Eventually, one way or another, his reign definitely had to end. Officially, he resigned. Of his resignation, he stated, "It was a pretty good career move, resigning." From June 1982 and March 1984, it was the turn of Bob Willis to take over the reins. Willis was a tall and intense fast bowler who took over a dressing room still in Brearley's shadow. Despite the fact that bowlers are seldom given the role of captain, under Willis's captaincy, England won 7, lost 5, and drew 6 tests. And while Bob Willis may not have been the most natural of leaders, his commitment and bravery, especially during the 1981 Ashes against Australia, cemented his legacy. David Gower was given the position of captain of England from 1982 until 1984. Gower was also briefly reinstated for the 1989 Ashes series against Australia. Gower was the artist when it came to cricket. He possessed silky cover drives, as many left-handers do. With him, he also brought a nonchalant attitude and laid-back style that divided fans and pundits alike. Gower was often accused of being too casual, and critics questioned his motivational drive. His style of captaincy was more aesthetic than authoritative. He led by example, but not always with urgency. In an era of rising aggression, his gentility seemed outdated. As a result, England's results under him were inconsistent. His record as captain was mixed. He captained England in 32 Test matches, winning 5, losing 18 and drawing 9, giving him a win percentage of 15.6%. While his raw statistical record appears underwhelming, it must be viewed in context. Gower led England against some of the strongest teams of the era, in particular the dominant West Indies side of the 1980s. Perhaps his most celebrated achievement as captain came during the 1985 Ashes series, where England defeated Australia 3-1. Gower himself scored 732 runs in the series at an average of over 80, including 3 centuries. His leadership during this series was calm, composed, and free of unnecessary drama, allowing England to regain the Ashes in convincing fashion. However, his tenure was also marked by heavy defeats to the West Indies, both at home and away. The 1984 Blackwash series, where England lost 5-0 at home to the West Indies, significantly dented his captaincy reputation, and he was frequently criticised for appearing too relaxed and for lacking the aggressive edge seen in other captains of the time. While this relaxed approach worked well with naturally confident players, it sometimes gave the impression of aloofness or lack of authority, especially in crisis situations. However, his calm presence was appreciated by many of his teammates, especially when compared to more authoritarian leaders. Gower also had a sharp cricketing brain. He was tactically aware and intuitive, often trusting his gut rather than relying on excessive data or strategy. Yet, in an era that demanded steel and defiance, especially against sides like the West Indies, his elegant, laissez-faire style was often misinterpreted as indifference. So, while David Gower may not have been England's most successful captain in terms of numbers, his leadership style was true to his character. He proved that captaincy could be conducted with class and understatement, and his 1985 Ashes victory remains a career highlight. Next came Mike Gatting. Gatting was the complete opposite of Gower. He was one of England's toughest and most resilient cricketers of the 1980s. Like many of his predecessors, he captained the national test team during a time marked by both hope and upheaval. But Gatting represented a blue-collar version of leadership. Less about style, more about guts. However, a major problem was that he couldn't control his temper, or the headlines. Although Gatting brought a sense of defiance and determination to the England captaincy, his reign was short-lived and occasionally mired in controversy. And despite leading England to a rare Ashes victory in Australia in 1986-87, his captaincy was a short one. Why? The Shakur Rana incident in Pakistan, where he had a very public spat with an umpire and lost the respect of the cricketing establishment. Graham Gooch. Between 1988 and 1993, Graham Gooch captained England in 34 Test matches, winning 10, losing 12, and drawing 12, resulting in a win percentage of 29.4%. While this may not appear spectacular on paper, Gooch's time at the helm must also be judged in context. He inherited a side in turmoil, low on confidence, and struggling with consistency. Gooch was a fitness-focused professional and a hard-working batsman. With him, he brought discipline, resilience, and an intense work ethic in his role as England captain. His leadership style reflected his own personal approach to batting. No frills, plenty of grit, and an unrelenting focus on improvement. His strict approach alienated certain individuals, most famously David Gower, whom he controversially excluded from the 1992 India tour, citing Gower's perceived lack of seriousness. One of Gooch's most iconic moments as captain came in 1990 at Lord's against India. He scored 333 in the first innings and 123 in the second, a match aggregate of 456 runs, which is still a world record for a test match. That series victory against India and a drawn series against the formidable West Indies in 1991 stood out as highlights during his reign. However, Gooch's England struggled against Australia, especially during the 1990-91 Ashes series and again in 1993. He stepped down following the 1993 home Ashes defeat, recognizing that a new direction was needed. Then there was Mike Atherton. Alec Stewart, the younger son of former English Test cricketer Mickey Stewart, had actually been groomed for the England captaincy under Graham Gooch. He deputised for Gooch in 4 tests in India and Sri Lanka in 1993. But when Gooch retired from the captaincy later that year, it was Mike Atherton who was chosen to succeed him. Michael Atherton captained England's Test team in 54 matches from 1993 to 1998, the third highest number of tests as England captain at the time. Atherton's reign began with optimism, but it quickly became apparent that he was working with limited resources. He captained against some of the most powerful teams of the era, including Australia and South Africa, both boasting world-class bowling attacks. Despite this, he managed to lead England to series wins against India and New Zealand, and drew a tough away series in South Africa in 1995-96. He achieved a record of 13 wins, 21 losses, and 20 draws during his tenure, giving him a win percentage of 24.1%. While his record as captain may be seen as modest, his leadership style earned him respect. He led with quiet resilience in the face of strong opposition, internal instability, and media pressure. His own performance was that of courage, mental toughness, and fierce determination. Perhaps his most iconic performance came not as captain, but while leading the side in Johannesburg in 1995. There, he batted for over 10 hours to score 185 and save the match. It was an innings that symbolized his fighting spirit and dogged leadership. From 1999 to 2003, it was the turn of Nasser Hussain to captain the England side. Hussain took over as England's Test captain at a time when the national team was languishing at the bottom of the world rankings, riddled with inconsistency and low morale. Through his sheer force of will, tactical sharpness, and relentless commitment, Hussain helped restore pride, discipline, and direction to English cricket in the early 2000s. He led England in 45 Test matches, winning 17, losing 15, and drawing 13, giving him a win percentage of 37.8%. This was a significant improvement on previous captains and reflected the steady upward trajectory of the team under his leadership. Though he inherited a struggling side, he quickly began to instill structure and accountability. England secured Test series wins over Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and the West Indies during his captaincy. Perhaps one of his most notable achievements was his historic series victory in Pakistan in 2000, England's first in that country since 1961. And although England failed to beat Australia during his tenure, Hussain's leadership laid the foundations for the success that followed under Michael Vaughan. Hussain gave opportunities to future stars like Michael Vaughan, Marcus Trescothick, and Andrew Flintoff, helping shape the core of the next generation. Michael Vaughan captained the team from 2003 to 2008. He is often referred to as the Ashes architect. He is widely regarded as one of England's most successful and influential Test captains. Taking over at a time when England was beginning to emerge from years of inconsistency, Vaughan led the team into the golden period, culminating in the legendary Ashes win of 2005. Vaughan captained England in 51 Test matches with a record of 26 wins, 11 losses and 14 draws, giving him an impressive win percentage of over 50%. One of the best among England captains. Under his leadership, England won 6 consecutive Test series between 2004 and 2005, including dominant performances against the West Indies, New Zealand and South Africa. His crowning achievement was leading England to victory in the 2005 Ashes, their first Ashes series win in 18 years. That iconic 2-1 triumph over a powerful Australian side elevated Vaughan to legendary status. Vaughan was forced to deal with injury issues toward the end of his captaincy, and the team's form dipped. He stepped down in 2008, having led England in more Tests than any other captain at the time. His legacy as captain is defined by winning, particularly the unforgettable 2005 Ashes series. He helped turn England into a disciplined, confident and world-beating side, and his combination of tactical acumen and player management set the standard for future England captains. Next came Andrew Strauss, the strategic statesman behind England's rise to number 1. Captaining England from 2009 to 2012, Andrew Strauss is remembered as one of England's most effective and composed Test captains. He took charge at a time when the team needed direction and stability. Strauss brought all that was needed: professionalism, discipline, and a strategic vision. His calm leadership and strong partnership with coach Andy Flower helped usher in a golden period for England's Test side. Strauss captained England in 50 Test matches between 2009 and 2012, winning 24, losing 11 and drawing 15, giving him a win percentage of 48%. Under his leadership, England reached a historic high point for the team, the number 1 ranking in the ICC Test standings in 2011. Strauss's most significant achievement came during the 2010-11 Ashes series in Australia, where he led England to a 3-1 victory, their first Ashes series win down under in 24 years. He also oversaw dominant series victories over India, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Cook captained the England Test cricket team from 2012 to 2017, becoming one of the most enduring and respected leaders in the nation's cricketing history. Taking over after Andrew Strauss's retirement, Cook brought a calm, unflappable presence to the role. Under his leadership, England won 24 of 29 Tests, drew 13 and lost 22, making him the most successful England Test captain at the time. Cook's captaincy style was marked by resilience, discipline, and a steady hand, rather than flamboyance or overt aggression. He led by example, particularly with the bat. His most notable success came early in his tenure when he led England to a historic Test series victory in India in 2012. It was their first series win there since 1984-85. Cook himself scored 3 centuries in that series, underlining his status as a top-class opener and dependable leader. Despite criticism at times for his conservative tactics, Cook managed to rebuild the team following some turbulent periods, including the fallout with Kevin Pietersen in the 5-0 Ashes whitewash in Australia in 2013-14. He showed immense personal resilience, often bouncing back strongly when his leadership was questioned. Cook stepped down from the role in 2017, handing over to Joe Root, but he left behind a side that was more settled and competitive. As captain, Cook scored 4,844 runs at an average of 46.57, proof of his ability to maintain form despite the burdens of leadership. From 2017 to 2022, it was the turn of Joe Root to lead the England Test team. Root served as England's Test captain from 2017 to 2022, during one of the most demanding periods in the team's history. He led through transitions, a pandemic, and a fluctuating squad. While his personal form with the bat remained exceptional, Root's captaincy was marked by highs and frustrating lows. Root's style of captaincy was marked by politeness, professionalism, and immense personal commitment. He led with a positive attitude, often deflecting blame from teammates and shouldering responsibility himself, sometimes to his own detriment. He was not a naturally aggressive or tactical innovator. Root was more of a player's captain, focusing on unity, encouragement, and building relationships. His calm and approachable nature made him well liked within the dressing room, and he was occasionally criticized for tactical naivety, especially in field placements and bowling changes. He captained England in 64 Test matches, making him the longest-serving England Test captain by matches. He won 27, lost 26, and drew 11, giving him a win percentage of 42% and the highest number of wins by any England captain to date. His early years saw success, including series wins against India, South Africa, and Sri Lanka. However, England also suffered several painful defeats, most notably a 4-0 Ashes loss in Australia in 2021-22 and a 2-0 home series loss to New Zealand in 2021. These results, combined with inconsistent selection policies and a fragile batting lineup, eventually led to his resignation in April 2022. Then came Ben Stokes and the Bazball revolution, which is still evolving today. Ben Stokes took over as England's Test captain in April 2022. The side had won just one of their previous 17 tests. Morale was low and the style of play was timid. In partnership with head coach Brendan McCullum, Stokes sparked a revolution in mindset and performance that became known as Bazball, an aggressive, fearless brand of cricket that has changed the way the game is played. As of August 2025, Ben Stokes has captained England in 25 Test matches, winning 15, losing 7, and drawing 3, giving him a win percentage of 60%, one of the highest records among modern England captains. His tenure began with immediate success. England whitewashed New Zealand 3-0 at home in 2022, chased 378 against India at Edgbaston, and defeated South Africa and Pakistan in thrilling series. The 3-0 win in Pakistan in late 2022 was especially historic. It was England's first series whitewash there, and the first time any team had scored over 500 runs on day one of a Test match. In the 2023 Ashes, Stokes led England to a spirited 2-2 draw after being 2-0 down. He earned respect and admiration for his leadership, resilience, and refusal to play for draws. Stokes' captaincy is defined by aggression, intuition, and total belief in his players. He has empowered his team to play with freedom, backing bold declarations, unusual field settings, and attacking batting from ball one. Stokes encourages risk-taking, viewing failure as part of growth rather than something to be avoided. In 2025, Stokes made history by becoming the first England captain to score a century and take a 5-wicket haul in the same Test match. He is also one of only 6 players globally to achieve this feat. He leads from the front with energy, bravery, and a win-at-all-costs attitude, whilst often pushing through pain and injury. While not overly technical, his emotional intelligence and trust and gut instincts have made him a dynamic and inspiring leader. Though his captaincy is still in progress, Ben Stokes has already transformed England's Test cricket culture. He has restored public enthusiasm, brought back belief, and made England the most entertaining Test side in the world. If his trajectory continues, Stokes may go down as one of the most impactful captains in the history of the game. From Greig's charisma to Stokes' fire, England's Test captaincy has evolved through eras of challenge and change. Each leader brought something unique, whether it be style, grit, intellect, or innovation. And as cricket continues to evolve, so will the role of the captain. But one thing remains constant: the weight of the crown and the legacy it leaves behind.